Right, but we're going to start with the Ballon d'Or and another night of joy for Lionel Messi at the age of 36. Starting with the Daily Mail, I mean, John, this was not a massive surprise given that Argentina have won the World Cup. He's got a bit of form, this Messi fella.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I think it's the fairy tale ending to sort of Messi's glorious career at the very top. I mean, obviously he's gone to Inter Miami and been sensational there, but this recognises that fairy tale, doesn't it, of him inspiring and finally lifting that World Cup and finally kind of realising his career dream of making that happen. And leading Argentina to their greatest triumph in his era, if you like. So that encompasses that, really. I mean, you have to say, it's been for years now. It's been a kind of a shootout, straight shootout between Messi and Ronaldo. Ronaldo's obviously no longer perhaps in sort of the upper echelons, but Messi's still going strong. I have to say, I do think, because this particular one takes in the World Cup and everything that goes with it, I do feel as if this could be Messi's 8th and final award, because I think one of the papers there, I think the Sun sort of kind of summed it up nicely that surely it will be Jude Bellingham next year. I mean, the way he's going at the moment, he'll sweep absolutely every award going. I do think Messi deserves this recognition. I think he's a wonderful player. There's other awards, other major awards, to come. The really prestigious one for young players is the Golden Boy Award. The Copa Trophy for young players and the Ballon d'Or is a relatively new thing. I think it's been going 5 years. So that's a relatively, new one. Obviously, FIFA are trying to make their own stamp with their best awards, and they don't include the World Cup. So I do think that sort of kind of almost things will move on a little bit from there. But I think it's great that, Messi's, is fantastic. The sort of kind of the real realisation of everything that he fought for throughout his wonderful career, and I'm sure they'll still have great times with Inter Miami, is sort of kind of recognised in this latest and wonderful 8th award for him.
Yeah, Riyadh, I mean, we talked about, John just mentioned the Sun there, which says here's this year's Ballon d'Or winner and here's next year's, alluding to Jude Bellingham, who's obviously on course the way he's going at the moment. But just to stay with Messi just for a second, I mean, do we think this will be his last one, given he is in America now, or can you even see him kind of coming back again to Europe?
Well, we were actually just chatting off air a moment ago that you still got some way to go to match Stanley Matthews, and if the stats are correctly what he won at 41 years old. So I mean, there's still room for improvement from Lionel Messi. Listen, we're talking about, to my view, and I don't consider it particularly original in this regard, the finest player that's ever played the game. Certainly in the years that I've been alive, he's just an absolute delight, a joy to watch. And, he's been elevated by the presence of Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ronaldo has been elevated by the presence of Messi. They've dragged each other to these levels, and for years and years, we sort of saw this ding dong between them, who's going to win the Ballon d'Or. And is there a degree of sadness, or is it just natural evolution that, that battle no longer exists? This is Messi taking his 8th. There's an element of, there would certainly be some symmetry if that was the last one. He had that tremendous World Cup, of course. Can you possibly script a better ending to the competitive portion of your career, which I don't believe is being excessively disrespectful to the MLS and what he's trying to achieve over with Inter Miami right now. But it was such a wonderful crescendo to what had already been sort of almost an unprecedented career. In terms of what happens next, I do like the fact that you've got sort of Bellingham just creeping into the frame there. You've got that sort of past and present element to it, don't you? And he's clearly made such a wonderful start at Real Madrid. We saw it at the Clasico at the weekend, but Messi's still there. I kind of fear the day this man retires, because he's been it's just a dream to watch.
Yeah, John, I mean, Riyadh alludes there to the passing of the baton, passing of the Ballon, maybe, to someone like a Jude Bellingham. I mean, it almost seems inevitable that that Bellingham is going to win it at some stage, and the way he's going at the moment, 13 goals in 13 games, it could well be in 12 months' time.
Yeah, he's not even a striker. And yet his goals on Saturday, particularly the first one, the equaliser, were just out of this world. I don't know whether people have seen the short, albeit short clip in accepting the award tonight. He speaks with such maturity and such class immediately. It's partly his mentality and kind of, his upbringing that make him years above sort of where he should be almost in terms of, the way he speaks, the way he conducts himself on and off the pitch. I mean, I think he's destined to be the best player in the world. I really do. And, I kind of would be reluctant normally to stick that sort of kind of pressure on a young player's shoulders, but he's just got that incredible talent. He's just so good. And to be so bold to A, go to Borussia Dortmund for his development, and then B, follow it up by going to Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world, and then go and dominate that team as he has done in the early stages. It says so much about his ambition. It says so much about his talent and his aura, and even watching him at Wembley recently against Italy, he just seemed a different player. He'd gone up a level, and that's after just a few weeks playing for Real Madrid. We are so blessed to have arguably the best player in the world, soon to be crowned, I'm sure of it, playing for England and wearing an England shirt. It just gives every England fan so much hope and so much promise for the future. I've no doubt about it. I mean, I think he'll be the clearest winner. I alluded to earlier about the Golden Boy Award, which is the long-running real sort of prestige award for young players. I've no doubt about it that he will be crowned that in sort of early December. There's another sort of ceremony next week, and he'll be the clearest winner and recipient of that in the history of the award. He's just a fabulous talent. It does feel like a bit of a passing of time, and to that end, it feels nice that actually Messi has gone out in such a high like this, because like Riyadh, whenever we've had a chance in the past to see Messi play, it's just a joy, and it's something you never forget.
Yeah, well said. I mean, Riyadh, a couple of things on that. One, does Bellingham have to win the Euros, a bit like to get the Ballon d'Or, a bit like Messi has won the World Cup? So, yeah, your thoughts on that first of all, and then are we likely to see the kind of Haaland and Bellingham rivalry like we've seen Ronaldo-Messi?
Well, kind of going with the sort of latter part of that first, that would be great. And as John's just said there, I mean, the most incredible thing about these Bellingham numbers, 13 goals, 13 games, he's not a striker.
Yeah.
He's just this incredible marauding force who can you could put him almost at any place on the pitch and he'd be comfortable taking possession, adapting to the role, finding the little spaces. He is so gifted. In terms of whether or not he wins the Euros, I really wouldn't rule it out with the quality of players that England have. If we go broadly to the Ballon d'Or, I don't wish to be excessively contrarian here. I know sort of Lionel Messi won the World Cup, but I do look at Haaland having a 52-goal season and a treble, and he's perhaps got a thought in the back of his mind thinking it could have been my year. I think we all know that Messi could have scored 5 own goals a game for every game he's played since the World Cup final. He still would have got that 8th Ballon d'Or. But maybe there is that slight thought for Haaland right now. As for Bellingham and Haaland, they are at the moment the two standout generational players that we're seeing, and very, very different players, very different sets of gifts, but equally capable of dominating games. It's incredibly exciting. I think it would be wishful thinking to say we're going to have another repeat of the Messi Ronaldo years and it's going to sort of propagate itself for 13 or 14 seasons. But we can but hope. These are fantastic players.
They're great players. We will watch this space. We're going to move on to The Guardian, and we're staying with the Ballon d'Or, but you'll see there the pictures of Lionel Messi and Aitana Bonmati. And John, a little bit of irony, which I'm sure is not lost on people, given that Bonmati is there, and underneath is the Luis Rubiales story about him being banned for 3 years by FIFA from all footballing activities. And then directly above him is Bonmati proudly holding up her Ballon d'Or.
Yeah, timing is everything, I guess. FIFA have got their best awards yet to come, and probably in amongst everything like this, they've also made sure that their message is clear as Bonmati, wins the award on the back of Spain's fabulous World Cup victory in the summer, to make sure that their message is clear that Rubiales is going to be significantly punished, and rightly so. Worth noting, worth pointing out there that I do think Haaland will win surely will win the best award, which will come. But this is such a serious matter that basically I do feel as if FIFA had to choose their time and make it absolutely clear, because they would surely know that Spain would dominate all the awards at the Ballon d'Or, tonight on the back of their World Cup victory, and they had to make a strong statement. 3 years, we're given to believe that Rubiales will appeal that sentence, that punishment. But I think it's a significant and a much needed punishment to make a statement, to make people really sort of kind of take notice. And it's just a shame, isn't it, that Bonmati, who was obviously such a figurehead in that glorious victory. There's other sort of Spanish players throughout the list of the sort of the top 10, top 15 players to be named, including obviously several England players as well. Again, has to sort of share headlines with on the back of that horrible Rubiales incident. But it does feel as if FIFA are actually taking it on and saying, actually, we're going to land out a really significant punishment here.
Rieth, your thoughts briefly on the timing of this and Bonmati kind of eclipsing Rubiales?
I've actually got a little bit of sympathy for her, and I mean, you can look at it either way, in the sense that, look, this is sort of the triumph of a tremendous player who's also won a treble last season. Or you can look at it sort of, she has this not a crowning moment, the World Cup was the crowning moment, but she has this moment of brilliant sort of personal triumph. And again, Rubiales is this presence stalking in the background and taking headlines. I've got a bit of sympathy, and that's sort of been the theme throughout the whole Rubiales saga, that you have this wonderful accomplishment, this brilliant sporting accomplishment, being overshadowed by this man. So maybe there's that sort of lingering feeling around it as well.